Hey there, it's Reverend Jay, and I'm coming to you from my home in San Francisco. We're in that really short season of Epiphany, a season that invites us to shine light on our truth, the good, the bad, and even the ugly. Well, in this season, we're also invited to listen for God. Now, I understand that in life, that could sometimes be challenging. It's not always easy to listen for God, even though God is a big word for everything. We come to understand God in so many different ways that sometimes it could leave us not knowing where God might be. Always, God is here in our heart. We call that the inner light. But also God can be found in all the places that we go. So I'm going to share you a story about listening for God. Some of this comes out of the Quaker tradition. The Quakers are a Christian denomination where people believe that the presence of God is in everyone. That means that we all have light from within to share. And so, are you ready for this story? God is never far away. In fact, God is a big word for everything. God's Spirit is always close as breath. We know it because we live it every day. Breathing in, breathing out. That is the Spirit of God. The presence of God can be felt everywhere. But unless we stop and listen, we might not even notice. We practice listening. We listen with our whole selves. I invite you to open yourself to Spirit. We could do this simply by physically spreading our arms out like we're ready to hug somebody and allow ourselves to be open to Spirit. With a smile. We listen with our whole selves, with our bodies, minds, hearts, imaginations, with our souls. Sometimes we listen to God in that deep, deep place where we can come so close to God and God so close to us. It's a place we know as home. It's a place we call the heart, or the light within. We know God's presence, and Spirit helps us to know how to love, what to do, and who to be. We practice listening. Sometimes that of God in one person sees that of God in another person. Together, we play, we invite, and sometimes we challenge one another to be the one God created you and I to be. We can bring out the best in each other. Heart comes together. This might be in friendship, love, and even when we disagree. We become stronger together. And when we bless each other, we know God's presence and Spirit helps us to know how to love, what to do, and who to be. We practice listening, and sometimes God touches us through the gifts of creation. God touches our eyes. God touches our ears. God touches our skin, our nose, our tongue. God comes so close and touches with the gifts of creation. And Spirit helps us to know what to love, what to do, and who to be. We practice listening. Sometimes God touches us through sacred stories, like the stories that we find in our Bible, or some of the prayers that we have through our prayer book. Well, these might be the stories of people in the desert. These might be the stories of Jesus and the parables that we told that are like gifts given to us. They might be the stories of God's people at any time or place who listened in faith and loved and who shared their holiness. There are other places where the words and stories speak to us, poetry, prayer, and song. God in our hearts and the words of the stories work together, and Spirit helps us to know how to love, what to do, and who to be. We practice listening. Sometimes God touches us through the community gathered for worship, gathered to celebrate, gathered to help others. God touches hearts. Hearts touch hearts. We know God's presence, and Spirit helps us to know how to love, what to do, and who to be. We are invited to be God's hands and feet, to be the ones who help. Think about all the ones who help in the world. Think about the ones who help you and I. We are invited to be God's ears and voices, to speak truth and encourage one another. Imagine all the ones who stand up for us, the ones who seek justice and peace. We become God's presence in the world. We make our connections real. And Spirit helps us to know how to love, what to do, and who to be. We practice listening in all the places we may be. We can listen for God in all places, wherever we may be, and there are so many ways of listening. Some of us like to be inside, in our rooms, or sometimes in the church, in places that feel holy and special. The light within shines in our heart to the places that we call home. We practice listening with our whole selves, with our bodies, minds, hearts, our souls. And God's Spirit is always close as breath in the flow of living. Spirit helps us to know how to love, what to do, and who to be. So I wonder, what part of the story did you like best? I wonder, what helps you listen for God? God is a very big word for everything. And so, as we ground ourselves in this practice of listening, especially in this short season of Epiphany, where the light shines truth in all the places, I invite you to listen to where God is in your life. God comes in the form of many ways. God bless you, God keep you, in all the places that you go. Allow yourself to be open to the loving and guiding presence of the one who is love. Take care, everyone, and we'll see each other soon.